do you ask and receive notes on your art? How do you work on getting criticism that also improves you, that doesn't completely want to belittle yourself and you're like, I never want to make art again? That's what I'm going to go over. My name is Isham. I'm a filmmaker and photographer. I've been doing this for over a decade. I've gone over 1 billion views online, and I've worked with clients like Callaway, Travis Matthew, 511, and I want to talk about getting notes on your art, and specifically on art that is less for work and more on the art that's your passion and bigger pieces that is not particularly paid, but it's art to reach the masses. I look at it at least in twofold. It's who are you asking and what are you asking them? The first thing I'm going to go over is what are you asking them, then we're going to go into who are you asking. Because I believe what you ask is much more important than who you ask. One of the major questions I ask when I ask for notes or ask for suggestions or improvements is not, did you like it? Because art is very subjective. If you give a piece of art, if you show a piece of art, whatever that type of art is, to 1 million people, you're going to probably get 1 million different responses. So I try to ask very pointed questions that will improve the art. For example, I'm a filmmaker. So some of the questions I might ask are, where did you get distracted in the film? Where did you lose interest? Were you at all confused? Because these are questions that will improve my storytelling. These are questions that will go, oh, they wanted to look at their phone during this scene. 6 people wanted to look at their phone during this scene. Well, something in that scene or right before that scene is off, so I need to fix it. Rather than, did you like it? Well, no, it didn't really speak to me. All right, well, you can't do anything with that. You want to ask questions so that you can do something with it. If you're a musician, let's say, like, did you want to dance to the song? If the goal is for them to dance, did you want to dance to this? No? Okay, well, do you like dancing to music? No? Well, good, then you know that's not the right audience. You know, what points did you laugh at the movie if you want them to laugh? If their answers can't give you a way to help improve it, then you're asking the wrong questions. Now, who do you ask for notes on your art before you send it out kind of to the general population? That's something you really want to make sure you pay attention to, because not everyone is going to give you the right notes. In my opinion, the first people you should try to ask are people who are successfully doing what you want to be doing. These could be people who are industry professionals or who have done it. Now, not everyone has access to somebody who's been doing it before, such as like a mentor or whatnot. This is where networking and really trying to build great relationships are very important, because they allow you to use that connection in somebody who genuinely doesn't mind helping you. Now, something to be aware of. I'm very fortunate to have a handful of individuals and mentors who are successful in their fields. One thing that I make sure is to be very respectful of their time, because they're not going to be able to look at every draft, at every piece of art you make, and give you notes on all of them. So you should be very selective at what piece of art you send them and at what draft you send it to them. And that's where part 1 comes in, is being very specific about what questions you ask them, because they can then give you answers on that. Something I've learned being in this position and being able to work with people who are unbelievably successful in their fields, from Academy Award winners, Grammy Award winners, Emmy Award winners, is most of them genuinely love to help upcoming artists. And especially they love to help them more if they know how to be very respectful of their time and also take their notes. One of the things that I got told by a mentor who was a teacher of mine was like, when you ask these people, is if you're gonna get their notes, take their notes. Don't just go, oh, okay, and then not do anything with their notes, because then they're like, well, he's not even listening. Try to take the notes. If you don't understand their notes, ask. Go, hey, this doesn't make sense. What are you trying to say, or how would I execute on that? Get insight from them a little bit more if you don't fully understand it. Next, if you don't have access to a mentor or somebody like that, what I highly recommend is start networking and find people that you like their artistic creations and people you have similar artistic sensibilities to, because when they give you notes, you like their taste, so you go, okay, great, they're gonna improve my art because we agree on what we like. So let's say you like making action movies and you send your film to somebody who likes super art housey films. They might not give you the best note because it's in a they don't like action movies. The same way you make a horror film and you send it to somebody who doesn't like horror films, they're not gonna like the film regardless. So they're probably not gonna be the best one to give you notes. You wanna make sure you send it to friends or your network that have a similar artistic mentality and artistic quality that they like to you. And those same rules that I was talking about earlier apply. Ask them the right questions. Be mindful of their time. And also reciprocate. If they send you stuff, give them notes. One rule that I have with my friends who, when we give each other notes, is don't give any notes if you don't have a way to solve it. So for example, I don't like it. All right, well, what didn't you like about it? Why didn't you like it? How would you fix it? And if you can give those answers, then you can give the note. But if you're like, hey, it wasn't vibing for me and I don't know how to fix it, but also just be able to say that, because then you guys can kind of talk it out on what you can do to potentially fix it. And you're like, I don't know why it's not gelling. Well, it's this. Finally, I want to give kind of just an overall on giving notes and receiving notes is always try to encourage, right? Never and always try to come from a good place. And if you can tell somebody who is giving you notes a couple times, you're like, man, every time I do this, I don't want to make art anymore. Maybe that's a person to not have in your circle in terms of, or don't ask that person for notes anymore. Because the whole goal is to build that community and build it where you're like, oh, I want to make art. I want to make better art. And if that person helps make you better art, great person to have. If that person makes you want to stop making art or doesn't make you make your art better, don't ask that person for notes. It really it is subjective. And so your art is meant for you to keep making it. I hope this helps. This is something that I've been doing recently, and go find those group of people, those individuals to help make your art that much better.